What's going on, people? It's Mr. Door back again with the review show. I hope everyone's fit and well. And yes, at last, I know it's just a cup game, but we won at last. We've got a W for a change, but it's happy times at least. People in the comments, get involved. Of what do you think about yesterday's performance? Good to get your thoughts and opinions on what it was. If it's good, it's bad. Get involved, people. If you are new to the channel, please do hit the like button. And as well, people, I am 50 away to 9k. So if you are new to the channel, all you gotta do is subscribe, because I do want to reach 9k before the end of the stream. Let's get guests in. Who should I start with first? You know what? I'll start with I'm gonna start with you, Rads. How you doing, Rads?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. You got your vlog out today as well, aren't you?
Yeah, it's out now. Go and check it out, everyone, if you want. Nearly at 4,000 subscribers as well. But people, not all about me. So subscribe to Door as well. He's nearly at 9,000.
People, go. He's 13 away to 4k. So please, yes. His link is in the description. Subscribe to Rads. If you don't, why not? Who should I do next? I'm confused. I did it all. I've got this one because it's Tash Alert. Oh. Jay Martin, how you doing, Jay?
I'm okay, thank you, Door. How are you?
I feel great because you won.
See?
What subscribers are you on, Jay?
Oh, 1.23k. Yeah, it keeps going up and down now, so it's like a bit of a yo-yo. I'm like Norwich now, so it's just, yeah, that's just it now.
Oh, bloody hell. So prepare as well. Make sure everyone subscribe to Jay Martin, please, if you can. And not least, we've got the man that he just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks. He's a I can't call him a Dave 2.0 because that's disrespect to Dave, isn't it? But it's the man himself, Des Oldham, Do Daily. How you feeling today, Des?
I'm not as articulate as Dave. I'm more to the point, but I'm not as articulate. And if Jay's a Norwich, I'm a Swindon. I'm lower league in terms of subscribers to you lot.
No. As well, people. Des is a YouTuber as well, and his channel is not football, it's just football as well. But it's just different kind of content. And if you like, Des, just explain to what you do, Des, because I know there's people that might not know you and what you do on your content. Just tell people to make sure to subscribe.
So when I'm not talking to you about football or your viewers about Forest, I try to I do a YouTube channel based around encouraging a little bit of activity, good mental health. You know, it's nothing to if you're not into those kind of things as such, it's nothing to be put off by. Just saying before we came on, I think a lot of people think I'm going to preach at them and tell them they need to do this, and this. It's just 5 or 10 minutes every day of me talking about the way I'm feeling about the very mundane things I do. It's all realistic, honest. You know, sometimes it's uncomfortable for me because I have to be the honest one. It's just to try and get people realising that we all deal with the same stuff on different days, and hopefully they can deal with it better the next time.
So, like I said, people, all the descriptions, all the links are in the description, people. So, like I said, it takes like 2 seconds. Hit the like button, subscribe, and like I said, it's different kind of content. What Raz, Jay, and Des does. All you'll do is subscribe and help everyone out. And as well, people, I'm 50 away from the 9k. So if you've not subscribed, please do. It'd be a major achievement if I can get it before the Crystal Palace game, because, like I said, I've done this for 5 years now, and it'd be nice if you can, people. You don't have to, but it'd be nice. Subscribe. Right, let's talk about yesterday's game, because, like I said, it was a good result yesterday. 2-0 win against Spurs, and I feel good. It feels sometimes when you win like this, but it was a fantastic result. So let me talk to you, Des, about yesterday's game, and people in the comments as well. Get involved. No, let me get through the comments before we do get Des' opinion. Because, like I said, there's quite a lot of people on today. How you doing, Justin? Up the Forest. How you doing, Colin? Yeah, there's Colin. Shout out to Colin. I met you before the game, and top guy. So, Colin, thank you for seeing me before the game. Sunny D, Evening Reds. Hadi, how you doing, Hadi? Top guy. Liam, how you doing, Liam? Raz Dad, the man himself. Evening, guys. After last night's result, finally starts now 3 points on Saturday. Shout out to Raz. He's the better one on the Raz channel. So, sorry, Raz. This is from Tony. How you doing, everyone? This is from Mobs. How you doing, everyone? Shout out to Forest Dan. How you doing, Forest Dan? Kel, nice seeing you yesterday, Kel. Nice seeing you, Claire. Thank you for the lift. And as well, she got a special treatment, a special shirt from Tanya Awani as well. So shout out to him. How you doing, Paul? As well. There's so much good people here. Thank you for taking your time and listen to me and these three. Right, Des, let's talk about yesterday's game. What was your opinion on the whole game?
It was good, wasn't it? It was just what we needed after the debacle at the weekend and everything that happened there, and the disappointment that brought. We needed something to be really positive about, and whilst it was a fantastic performance on our part, Tottenham were poor, very poor. We do have to account for that a little bit, and I'm not being negative from the outset. It's just we did what we had to do to qualify for the next round, and I was really pleased because as the game built up, I started thinking about it. I looked at the results from the night before. I looked at the fact there was about 4 or 5 all Premier League games last night, and I thought if we could get the win, it gives us a chance in the cup competition, and we know how well the cup competitions worked for us last year. I said it numerous times towards the end of last season, how I felt the FA Cup gave us a free hit to get back into form. It always seemed to come after a bad result. And 1 or 2 changes, a bit of buzz around the City ground got us back into shape. And if it can have the desired effect on the game at the weekend, that's brilliant, isn't it? That's the best thing we could take from it, as well as being in the next round of the Cup. Potentially, what a kind draw might see us get to the latter stages of the competition. So really pleased with some individual performances. I don't think some was as good as others, or as good as they've been made out. But we all wanted Lingard to score and make an impact to hopefully build on it. And he definitely did that. I thought he was man of the match personally. I thought he got some shots away, and just time on the football. I've said a lot when I've done Dialing with Des or been on the review shows that I don't necessarily blame the strikers all the time, even though they've been not firing. I don't think they've been misfiring, if you know what I mean. They've almost not had the ball enough. Getting Lingard on the ball, got 1 or 2 good touches, sliding in for tackles, got his head on one in the first half. Second half, he slides in for a ball which falls to Loggy, who finishes well, and then he scores an header, and that's what we want from him, isn't it? As well as Loggy scoring as well, and Ryan Yates having another great game in midfield. I thought they were the real pluses on the evening, and just an all-round sort of nice night, wasn't it? Rather than any moaning and complaining, it was a performance. Good, solid performance. Like I said, Tottenham didn't play well. Don't think everybody in a Forest shirt played particularly well, but we got the result, and it's something to take into the weekend.
100%. Before I do get Jay, I'm seeing there's more comments coming through. And some positives as well for the channel. Jay Martin's content comment is incredible. It's a natural flair. And this is from Claire. Des, your channel has helped me loads. Keep on the amazing work as well. People show some love to Raz as well. It's not just Des and Jay. Don't show them to love. Show more love to Raz. Don't show love to them too.
Well, there's been some breaking news. There's been some breaking news.
What?
John Percy has broke some news that you're all going to hate, but independent panel concluded that VAR shouldn't have intervened on the Brentford penalty, and Gibbs White should have been awarded a penalty after the Ben Mee challenge.
I've just seen it. I've just seen it. People in the comments.
Wow.
I've just seen it. So basically, what John Percy said. More than Forest frustration, more than Brentford game last Saturday. Independent panel excluded. The VAR should have intervened on Brentford's pen, and Green White should have been awarded a pen after Ben Mee's challenge. VAR was far from perfect, and decisions may prove pivotal at the end of the season. Bloody hell! So them extra 2 points, could be the factor of the season at the end of Nottingham Forest. People in the comments, what do you think about that? We'll talk about that later on, but okay, that was crazy. Yeah, mad. I do, Simon, and shout out and good Simon's ear. Shout out to Amanda for getting the Gatlin Award as well. So well done to Amanda for getting for the fantastic work that she does for the defibrillators. She does it around Nottinghamshire, and she does fantastic work. Same Des does exactly the same. He does charity work, and he just helps other people out with defibrillators as well. But yeah, Amanda, well done for the amazing work that you have done. Yeah, before I get Jay, sorry Jay, I'm going to look through the comments. Evening, how you doing, Mark? This is from High Tones Drifter. Hello from Austria, mate. Nottingham boys here as well. But yeah, Jay, the lineup yesterday, Jay. Mr. Big Sam, I call him because I can't say his surname as you know, man. I'm an absolutely idiot. Big Sam, I call him. Was you happy Big Sam starting yesterday?
Absolutely. I mean, there's got to be a time when he should start. And I think there's been some Premier League games this season where I think he could have started. For me, there's no reason why Sam Surridge doesn't have the ability to go on and do it in the Premier League. He just hasn't had the opportunity. I think that the Cup is a perfect opportunity for him to get time. And time he got, and he did brilliantly. Unselfish in the way he played. He had a great vision. And obviously, unfortunate not to get a goal for himself, but at the same time, great team player. And he's someone that I could definitely see starting on Saturday. And I really like Awani as well. It was good in the formation that we played. That was really interesting, with the kind of two forwards being a bit wider. But yeah, I think he deserves more opportunities in the Premier League. I think he's really good. He's energetic. And he's got that kind of stride and confidence about him that I think Forest needs. So, yeah, I'd start him, and I think starting him was the right decision to make yesterday.
Do you echo what Jay says, Rads?
Absolutely, yeah. I love Sam Surridge. As soon as he came into the club, I think there was a few mixed reactions to it. A lot of them Stoke didn't particularly do anything for them. I think it was even their backup striker. It was a bit of a weird transfer, but obviously he'd worked with Cooper before. He was excellent last season when he had to step up. I just think he's such a smart, really, really clever footballer in the way he goes about his business. He's unselfish, like we said. In front of goal, he's one of the best finishers out there, in my opinion. And yeah, I agree. He's been very unlucky this season with the amount of minutes he's got. I think there's been a few times where he could have, at the very least, come off the bench for a bit longer or at all. He could have started. I mean, I think he should have started a few more games than what he has done. Obviously, yesterday, I think he didn't look out of his depth at all against Spurs, albeit a Spurs side that didn't play well. He looked well in his zone, and he looked really up for it, which is what I hoped he would be. And I'd start him. I like Awani. I really do. I think he's someone that has youth potential as well. But honestly, I'll give Sam a go at the weekend as well. There's no reason why he couldn't. And no disrespect to Palace, but if he can do it to Spurs, and I think he can give Palace a good go as well when it comes to Surridge. So yeah, I'd like to see him get more game time.
100%. Before I get there, I've got a super chat from Colin. Thank you for the £5, Colin. Much appreciated for that channel. If you do want to do any super chats from channel people and support the channel, like I said, we've got Crystal Palace and then we've got a month off. So I will be doing content for the channel. So please, if you are want to help support the channel, please do a super chat. And make sure you do a little comment as well. And if you want to say any bad words towards Des and Jay, please do. But Alan, I really hope we don't play McKenna on Saturday. Keep the team out last night, especially for putting Henderson back in the starting lineup. People in the comments, what do you think? We'll talk about the Henderson as well, and this is what I'm talking to Jay about. Henderson's been given a lot of criticism for his kick in, but Henderson, he was really good yesterday.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to answer that question in a wider aspect of it. He did what he had to do. I thought he looked really good, albeit in the first round or second round or whatever it was at Grimsby. He did exactly the same. The opposition is only the opposition for a goalkeeper, and he had a lot to do with that night, to be honest, in that second half at Grimsby. But I think we have to be a little bit careful about getting carried away with last night and sort of. I actually think now Steve Cooper's in a no-win position with a team selection at the weekend, unless we win, because if we lose and he reverts back to what the game where we played well against Brentford, he'll get slated for not picking some of the players that got as a result midweek. And if he changes it, massively because of what happened against a poor, lethargic, lackluster Tottenham side, he'll get slated as well. So it's a really difficult team selection this week. And I think you mentioned Hennessy. I don't think he's ever going to let Forest down. He just seems to be one of those players. I think Henderson's a better goalkeeper. His distribution is let him down a little bit recently. There was that little period with the goals flying in, but I think that was more down to the constant pressure we was under. So I think Ennis is a great backup. Of course, he's going to the World Cup. I think he's still their number one, isn't he?
Yep.
So it's good, but I think this other, I've been hearing all day. He should play at the weekend. Is that getting carried away again? Isn't it? For example, I've already praised him in many senses, and I'm glad that he scored last night. But Loggy, I don't think he played very well overall. First half,
don't you?
What he was getting caught. Sometimes people are a little bit blinded by a goal, and I know that it was important. It was a great goal. It was important, but I think you've just got to be realistic in what's what. Like the midfield. The midfield played fantastic last night. We won the game because we dominated the midfield. But I've said it in previous shows. There's no holding midfielder. That's the problem Forest have got in midfield. There's no holding midfielder. Mangala likes to play Mangala and O'Brien. What I loved about them last night, and the reason I would play them, we'd have to work it out within a formation. But the reason I would play Mangala and O'Brien because they're keener to play it forward. They're more forward thinking. That O'Brien's particularly snappy and he wins the ball back and he's thinking get it out wide quickly and make an angle, make a triangle, to receive the ball back. And then you've got Mangala who kind of picks the ball up but out of possession. Mangala, you see him with the fouls. It wasn't that straightforward. And he's not an holding midfielder. He's a player who kind of sits in a position. And I think that's why they might not have seen as much time with Foy playing in the position he does. Mine, from the comments I made recently, I'm not a massive fan of Foy because, again, I don't think he gets the ball forward.
I'm a fan.
But for me, he doesn't get the ball forward enough. That's why I like those two who was in yesterday. So in that sense, I would play those. I would look to get at least one of them in. And, of course, Mangala's suspended anyway, so he can't play. I'd probably play O'Brien, Yates and Kouyaté. It seems Yates and Kouyaté haven't done much wrong. It seems like the natural change for me. But I think that the bigger point in all this, and Surridge played really well. I've been calling for Surridge for a few weeks. I think it's let's not go a bit crazy on this win. That we played well, we created chances. I thought Tottenham's defence was all over the place. To say they're where they are in the league and they played the strength of team they did, they rely on Harry Kane like you won't believe. And again, I know this is going off point a little bit, but even when he didn't have the ball, he kind of created sort of movement and angles for them to be able to play the ball around. It's almost like a quarterback playing up front, which sounds a bit bonkers, but it was when he made his movements that Tottenham clicked. And when they took him off, they'd given up, haven't they? He'd given up at that point. Because if they'd have scored one goal, they might have had a chance. So I think we just got to be a little bit careful. Again, they had a couple of decent chances in the first half without real chances. There was that one, Hennessy, going back to the point.
Yeah.
Where I think it was Bentacar or somebody.
No, Dog T.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Dog T. Yeah.
Off the right. So I just think we have to be a little bit cautious and a little bit realistic. Remember that last weekend against Brentford wasn't too bad. For all the frustrations I had coming out of the game, as we spoke about, it wasn't that bad. So I think we might see a couple of changes. I don't think we'll see wholesale changes like with the centre backs. For me, I thought Bolly had a really good game and he was playing out of position. He played left-hand side rather than right-hand side. You could quite clearly see he's right-footed and and it was difficult at times, but he put in a strong performance. So I could possibly see if McKenna's not playing, perhaps he fits in, or even Worrell. I thought out of the two, Bolly probably shone a little bit more. But other than that, I wouldn't go too far. I will always steady at right back. Nico, I'd rather have Nico at left back. He offers more in attack for me, although I'm saying this on the back of Loggy scoring a great goal.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? It was funny, Des, because I was about to say the exactly same question because you mentioned Bolly and Worrell. And because, like I said, everyone's been criticising with Cook's old, McKenna's not that fast, blah, blah, blah. Bolly and McKenna did play well yesterday. Well, this is the question to the panel, and as well, people get in the comments as well. Who would you start with? Because we mentioned Nico Williams, Aurier, Loddy as well. Who would you start in defence against Crystal Palace? People get in the comments. Jamie, what would you be your centre back choice tomorrow? Not tomorrow, Saturday.
Are we going on the assumption that McKenna's fit and that's all fully?
Yeah, because I know I saw Cooper's conference and said he's a bit touch and go.
Yeah. It's a really tough one because as I say, I'm a massive fan of McKenna and Cook. I still really like Cook a lot. But I'd like to, as Gary said actually in the chat, I'd like to toy with the idea of Bolly and McKenna. I'd like to see how that would work out because I think Joe Worrell was good, and I actually don't. I think he had a good game. I still think he's lacking confidence a little bit, and he panicked a little bit at times. And I just think Bolly was a little bit more calm and composed. And I think, obviously, as Des said a minute ago, a natural right foot and a natural right centre back player, it would make a little bit more sense to put him in there with McKenna.
What I will say, just sorry to interrupt. He played in a 3 when he made his debut, which I thought was poor from him, and that's why he's probably not played for so long. Yesterday he played in a 4, didn't he? So, and if we're playing a 4 at the moment, it might be worth a shout if there is an injury or a position up for grabs.
Well, of course, yeah. And I mean, I don't know how many times he's played in a back 3 in his career as well. So obviously, it was a time when we were at fairly low confidence as well, and it was a bad game overall, that game. But the back 4 seems to suit us a lot better. So I would actually go, Bolly and McKenna. But all the players you've seen suit a back four even more. Like Nico Williams, just look how much better he is in a back 4. He is a fullback. Naturally, he's a fullback. But to answer your question, Bolly and McKenna for me. I think they'd work together really well. They wouldn't panic, and there's a decent level of pace there. Enough for me.
What about you, Brad? Like I said, after this win, is it a bad? Is it it's a good fit for Cooper? But he's got a massive headache to sort out for start this game because it's a must-win game. What would be your choice on centre backs?
I think we got some fantastic options. I think Bolly played himself back into contention yesterday. I was one that was a bit critical of him. I didn't think he was awful, like some people were making out. I mean, he weren't the best against Fulham in that game that he played, but he certainly weren't incredible either. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind if Bolly started against Crystal Palace. I think he did well yesterday. He looked pretty solid. Like you say, he was playing on the other side of a back 4, which I think he was technically playing out of position. I think he actually did well. Obviously, Cook's come under a lot of scrutiny this season. I think it's fair. I mean, I'll always respect Steve Cook, but I do agree with people saying he's not quick enough. I think it is fair to say that. I don't think I've been picking him, if I'm honest. I've wanted Worrell back in the team for a while, and I don't think it was a perfect performance from him yesterday, but I think he showed why ultimately he's still the club captain and he's been in our team for so many years. So I'd love to see Worrell be starting again at the weekend, to be honest. And I'd probably go with Worrell and McKenna if I had to pick 2, because I still think McKenna's more than capable. I mean, I'd be happy with Bolly. I wouldn't be fuming if Cook was playing, but I'd rather Cook not start. No disrespect to him, but I'd probably pick Worrell and McKenna if I had to.
So people are commenting, what choice? I have done questions of choice defence. Comment below. Who would you put a choice? I'm gonna go for the comments now, and I got a super chat from Wolves F1. Thank you for the $3. Forest and Wolves 4 fan. see you in 30 minutes. People will, when the live draw does come, we are going to react towards it as well. People, who would you want in the draw? So comment below. I will ask the panel later on who they want. Jay, let's like, I think no, Jay, the midfield. Yatesy again, fantastic. Mangala was another fantastic as well. O'Brien again, he was all right. I think first half he was just losing the ball a bit. But what was your opinion on the midfield? And as well, people in the comments get involved as well.
Well, I want to start with Lewis O'Brien actually, because I do rate him as a midfield really, really highly, and I do rate him, and I would start him on Saturday. I think, you know, obviously he's quite a small guy. You've got quite aggressive players like Yves Bissouma, who I don't really think you're gonna beat in that physical battle if it comes to Lewis O'Brien and him. But I think that the way that Lewis O'Brien conducts himself when he's on the ball is brilliant. I think he's quite slick. I think his vision's really good. But you know, he did lose the ball a couple of times. But I do think we should give him that shot again on Saturday, because, as I say, he's calm on the ball as well. You want a group of players that are calm on the ball, people that don't panic. And I'm not saying that any of our midfielders really panic, but I just think he's calm on it. I just think that he's got an all right amount of pace, and he does the job quite well in the midfield. And as for Yatesy, and then I can imagine hopefully Kouyaté on Saturday, but if he's picked up a knock and he's got the World Cup coming, I doubt he'll play. But whoever plays, Freuler, whoever, I think they're all really good options. Freuler, I think in some ways I can agree with Des, but I do think we're yet to see the best side of Freuler yet. Obviously lots of experience with Atalanta, and I don't think we've really seen that fully kind of showing off for Forest, because it's all right us mentioning what he's done at Atalanta, and I know that we all reference it all the time, the Champions League games that he's appeared in and everything, but he does have to do it here. That's the only thing that really matters to us as Forest fans. So I think we will see that at some point, but yeah, I think the midfield that we had last night was really good. And as for Ryan Yates, I don't think he's the most technically able. I said it all the time, but he gives his all every single game, and he just does not stop until the final whistle goes. So yeah, he's just the ideal player that you want at Forest. He's the ethos that the club should be about, and yeah, just your ideal player. So really good midfield, and I wouldn't change too much, obviously, except for Mangala on Saturday.
I'm just going through the comments. Shout out to my guy Curtis Shaw, big Arsenal fan. On behalf of all Gunners, thank you for beating the Spuds. They are legit to trophies. Shout out to my friend Curtis, as you know, Arsenal Spurs. And I didn't get yesterday. I don't know if Des heard it, if Rad's heard it, or Jamie heard it. Forest fans were shouting the Spurs song everywhere they go. Spurs. Did any of you hear it yesterday?
A little bit of it, yeah.
In the trend and the shouting the Arsenal song that's singing about Forest. I'm thinking, why are you singing it? Why was she singing? The Arsenal fans, maybe? I haven't got a clue, but I thought it was a bit stupid. I'm looking for this one for Adam. I think Forest will get Blackburn in the fourth round. No, I don't want Blackburn away, because remember last time I went to Blackburn away, after the game, some guy shouted Hugh Daly. He thought he'd Des, what did he shout, Des? What was the shout again? Blackburn away.
Well, basically, he recognised me above him and he didn't like it.
Some guy come out of the way. Des thought his head went massive and shouted Des and just didn't think about me. So whoever that guy was, I hope I look to you again. Let's talk about this guy, Liam and Worrell and McKenna. That's from Liam. Kel says, I'm thinking about Liverpool at home next round. Now, I don't want him at home. I want it at Anfield. I've not been there. I know we'd go there next year, but I want them early, so it feels good. This is from Paul. Do you think people will go back to back or go back to 3 eventually? Right. Do you think you'll go back to 3 when Forest do start getting the right results?
I could see it happening, yeah. I'm not sure if he's in a hurry to do it. I mean, I think if you look at his career as a manager, he's played a back 3 a lot. I think even at Swansea, he played a back 3 quite a bit. don't know about his days at England or anything, but Forest obviously pretty much the whole of last season he played a back three. So for him to switch was obviously quite a big thing to do. I think he's obviously made an impact, positive impact. I think with all the immense quality we have in the midfield, I think it was always going to happen, really. You know, but we're signing all these midfielders. You've probably got to play 3 at some point rather than just 2, because you're not going to be able to, you know, get the best out of them. And obviously, we were on a bad run of form. We had to change something. So I don't mind if he goes back to a back 3, but I'd rather him stick to 3 in midfield for now. Whatever gets results, essentially. But you know, I think some people would be quite against the idea because it might be seen as quite negative, and in the Premier League it might not work for us. You can get overrun in midfield if you haven't got a third midfielder there, which I do agree with. So personally, I wouldn't be totally against it, but I don't think he will go back to a back 3 just yet. I'm kind of sitting on the fence, really, aren't I? But I mean,
yes, you are. Yeah,
I don't. You know
I
what?
can't
predict the future, you know.
No, he's going to say it. Here we go.
I'm not going to say it. No,
use the word.
Go on, Jay. What about Jay?
You were going to call Rads the J word, weren't you?
Just a little bit. I'm not going to offend no journalist. People, there's 87 people in. If you can do a massive favor for me, hit the like button and make sure everyone subscribes to Des, Jay, and Dave. All the links in the description. Rads needs 4K before the end of the stream. Jay, don't subscribe to him because he's his journo. And Des, make sure everyone subscribe to Des, because like I said, he does great content. If you do suffer with mental health, he's the man to talk to. Or just DM him, because he can talk for ages. And sometimes he is annoying, Des, but he's just there. So that's why I prefer Rads today. I just like picking on these two. Let's talk about one certain player, Des, and I think you mentioned it at the start. Jesse Lingard, best game for me for Forest. As well, people, like to get your comments in. What do you think about Jesse Lingard? I think it was one of his best games. And that number 10 role we've desperately been needing for a long, long time. So, what's your opinion on Jesse Lingard?
Like I said at the start, it's the performance we was waiting for, isn't it? It's what we was expecting a little bit more of and a lot sooner. And in recent weeks, when it's not quite been working, it's the one where we thought at some point he's got to set it alight. Now we need him to build on it. He's obviously, and I wouldn't have said this before we signed him, but thinking back, he's obviously a confidence player. You know, he goes in fits and starts. We've seen it in his career at Man U. You know, that he went to West Ham and he did well. He went back and it didn't work out, and he's come to us. You know, so hopefully this is just the confidence he needs to go on. And like I say, I think the more important aspect in all of this was how many touches he had of the football. I don't know. I don't know the stats. I've not seen them, but it'd be interesting to see the stats compared to some of the Premier League games. And that's why I'm reiterating the point I made at the start. But that's why I wouldn't necessarily blame the strikers all the time for the predicament we've been in. You know, Morgan Gibbs-White's had a bit of stick, Johnson's had a bit of stick. You know, and it probably looks like I've defended them quite a lot. But the reality is they've not had enough of the ball to do anything. You know, but last night I think Lingard kind of made his own look. It was interesting how Forest lined up yesterday, because I think it was Jay who mentioned the strikers playing slightly wider than normal. They kind of run the channels, work the channels hard. It goes against playing 2 up front, you know, that, because you want your 2 strikers together, your combinations around the pitch, and you want them working off each other and sort of 1-2s and picking up balls and nodding one down and that kind of thing. But it kind of worked with Lingard almost breaking from that number 10 role, didn't it? The second goal was a classic example of how it did work, because 2 yards to the side of him, and 1 you were there, and he started the move at right back. So for all his critics, he'd almost got the ball, he got up, he got it wide to Aurora, And then when the ball actually comes in, he's not far from finishing it himself. So it was interesting that it worked in that sense with him slightly wide and him coming through the middle, and the link up was just so much better, wasn't it? You know, one is a bit clumsy. You know, Surridge sometimes when it's the build up play, it don't quite work out. But put him in positions to score goals, and you fancy him. What I did notice watching the extended highlights back today was, and I knew anyway, but I forgot for the time being, those one-on-ones we missed as well. You know, Surridge missed a one-on-one, Johnson missed a one-on-one. So we created a lot of chances in the end. So again, it just with Lingard, if Lingard's in the game, Forest are playing well, and I think that's what we're craving for, isn't it? Because you know if he's getting the ball, if he's taking shots, winning corners, it's all about sort of penning other teams back when we're under pressure. And I think that's exactly what happened last night. And he was getting stuck in as well. You know, he looks up for the fight, and I think it's people do him a bit of disservice sometimes when they say he's here for the money and he's not that bothered and get rid of him straight away. And I don't know. You watching last night, it was a tackle he probably shouldn't have won that created that first goal.
Yeah.
It was a loose pass from Mangala in the end. I think it was Mangala or O'Brien, whoever it was. It was loose, and I just thought he worked it to Loggy. It created a chance, you know. These days, people go mad about statistics, assists and goals and completed passes and all these things. So there you go. There's the one for the FIFA players, you know.
Yeah.
It's stats building. It was not played on FIFA in the real world, you know. It makes an impact, and Forest will win more football matches. It's as simple as that.
Before we ask Jay, or there's been asking questions about Lingard's form, but blah blah, and like I said, he did play yesterday. Would you start him against Crystal Palace? And there's all people getting comments. I've just done a poll. Would you start just Lingard as well? Jay, would you start him?
It'd be one of the few changes I make, and I would play very similar to what played in terms of forward players, what played against Brentford, but I'd swap Lingard for Dennis. That because I think he's probably earned. Dennis didn't play well enough to keep his place for a start. From a relatively good performance last weekend, and Lingard. If you're putting these players in, if you're making 9 changes, you want 2, 3, 4 players to stake a claim. And that's what, if you read the comments, listen to what we say, that's what we feel these players have done. They've made a claim for a place. So I'm looking at Dennis not playing particularly well. Lingard's had the best game for Forest. Why take him out now? Why take him out of the team when he's finally found his feet almost? I'm not saying he's cracked it. I'm not saying he's going to be fantastic from this point in. But if you take him out again, what does that say? Do you know what I mean? For me, it was an inspired performance by Lingard last night. I was really surprised that Yates got the sponsors man of the match.
Yeah, I was as well.
It was obvious that Lingard was man of the match. Obviously, each to their own opinion. I thought Yates and that midfield played particularly well. And that's what wins football matches in the Premier League, I've come to learn. Midfields, dominating midfield. We did it against Liverpool. But in short, to your question, I would definitely start him because I think if you drop him after that, what does it say going forward?
100%. What you, Jay? Do you feel like I said? He says critics. Everyone's been saying, get rid of him. Blah blah blah. He's not done nothing. He's more focused on social media than football. What's your opinion on Jesse Lingard? Would you start him on Saturday?
Yes, that's the simple answer. And when it comes to the whole social media thing, I think that's just an easy poke at Jesse Lingard because he's a presence on social media. I'm not denying that, and I never will deny that. He's got a presence. He's got a lot of followers, and he's got a business, and that's fair enough. The J Lings thing, that's a business. You know what I mean? He's got merchandising and everything else, and he's got gaming and stuff like that. But at the end, I think that's just an easy poke at Jesse Lingard. And yes, he hasn't had a great start at Forest, and he is being paid a good sum of money per week, and that's we can't deny that. We've paid him a lot of money, and at the moment, obviously, bar yesterday, he's not really been kind of acting up to the money that we're paying him for. But that being said, there's space for improvement, and obviously that game is a huge confidence boost. As Des said, it's probably important that we don't jump the gun and kind of think, well, this is it now. Let's, he's brilliant and this is it. But probably starting him in the next game, hopefully he does it again, and again, can he bring that confidence and that momentum into the next game? I think he probably can. At the level that we did against Spurs, who knows? But I think it's worth starting him 100%. But yeah, all the pokes at him about social media and stuff, talking about his performance, fair enough. But other things like that, easy pokes, not really a lot of substance to it, to be honest. I think he does put in a lot of effort for the team. You just don't get to see it. You only see what is out on social media. You don't see even at 3/4 of the things that Steve Cooper sees. And as he's been saying in his press conferences, Jesse's been putting in the work a lot. And even though he's telling us that, we're only hearing about the small amount, and he's working really hard for it. So I hope that he does start. He did deserve to be player of the match for me. And I hope he can carry it on tomorrow if he does start, or Saturday if he does start.
What about you, Rads? Do you think the same as Des and Jay?
Yeah, definitely. I think yesterday we saw the Jesse Lingard that we all thought we were signing actually turn up. Because with him and Lottie, to be honest, it's like they've been struggling really quite seriously. When they came in, very high-profile names, we all thought they were going to do amazing for us. So in a bit of shock that we'd signed players of their caliber, the clubs that they've been at in their career, and for them to not perform consistently was a real kick in the teeth. It was really disappointing. But we weren't writing them off like completely, because we all knew that they had it in them, and we just hoped that at some point it would finally happen. And we saw that yesterday, albeit one game. They've got to keep it up, obviously. But yeah, I don't think even think just on the shooting, Jesse was great. I think everything about it. He was putting in some really good tackles. He was chasing the ball all the time. He didn't stop running. And some people are saying, he doesn't care. He's only here for the wages. I think yesterday proved he's not. He's more than invested at Forest, and it's a different kind of challenge for him. He wouldn't be used to battling relegation, and as sad as that is, I think he loves it here. And it's great to see in his interview after the game. He seemed really invested. And yeah, I was so happy for him and Lottie, to be honest. They needed that. And it'll be a huge confidence booster for both of them. And I think particularly Lingard, I think you really do need to keep him in the team against Palace, because like you say, if you take him out after that, what has he got to do to stay in the team,
Yeah.
And I don't think Dennis has been bad. I think he's a talented player, but I don't really think, I don't think he justifies it. I think Lingard looked better against Spurs, and I think he probably should have got man of the match as well, like we've all been saying. So yeah, I'll keep him in.
I'm just going through the comments, and there's more news. Like if no, you've just turned up on John Percy's thing there, basically saying the penalty from Brentford and the Morgan Gibbs White penalty, this should have not involved VAR. And this is from Nick. News: Andrew Marriott and Lee Mason VAR from last week have been dropped from ref and VAR duties this weekend. So shame on you two after what you did, because like I said, them 2 points could cost Forest at the end of the season, because as you know, the Premier League's tough, and we could be out at the bottom. We could be at the bottom if that could happen. So it is what it is. And again, let's talk about the player. And he's not had much game time. I'm going to give this to Des. I call him Big Sam. He's not had much chances of. He's never got a good team. But for me personally, I know he didn't score, but for me, his presence was there, and he had about, I think it was 2 or 3 chances as well. But how did you rate him yesterday?
I thought he was good. I thought he was what Sam saw it is. He's what you expect. I think with Sam, he gives you the same performance every week. You know, some people like it, some people don't like it. I think he gives us more than other players give us at the moment. Well, I don't think he's been given enough chances, considering what the other players have been done. But he works chances for himself. He finds space. You know, he strikes the ball well. So like the 1-on-1, for example, I wouldn't complain that he missed it because the keeper saved it. He hit the target. You know, he ran in the channel. He worked it. He laid the ball off. He got in a position to head the ball back for Lingard. You know, all these things are really, really important. So he didn't get his goal, but we know, given a few more chances, he's I don't know the stats again, but his sort of goals to shots conversion rate, I'd presume, is much better than anybody else's because he's a fantastic finisher. And I think sometimes in the Premier League, when you're not having a great deal of the ball, when you're not going to create too many chances, you need somebody with a good goals to shot conversion rate, and he's that because he might score that opportunist goal. I think of the goals like the one against Huddersfield where he bent it round. You know, if he gets in that position and he can bend one round, or when he played Swansea and he was clinical that day. I know it's a different level again, but I just think he's a more complete footballer than Tyrone at this point. And I think we, in many ways, despite what I said about team selections for the next game, based on the last couple of games, I think we need to play with a number 9 a lot more, because we can't just keep playing people like Lingard and Morgan Gibbs-White and expecting to stay up, because it won't happen, because they're not out-and-out goal scorers. They're not going to score enough. We need to play with a number 9. For me, Surridge is the best man for the job. I've been shouting for weeks for more of the team that got us up to get a game, because I've been disappointed with some of the signings. You know, that whilst some of them have got potential, you know, whilst they've done things at other clubs, I think the players we got, you know, didn't do anything wrong either. They just were deemed not as good. And I don't think it's necessarily proved to be that. I think Sam should get a chance a lot more, even if it's coming off the bench. We know it worked with Keenan Davis last year. You know, Keenan had played 50, 60, 70 minutes. Sam had come on, and he got a great sort of, he got a good amount by the end of the season, which definitely contributed to us getting promoted. So I think I don't see, in all reality, I struggle to see how he does get in, but I would like to see much more of him. Because I think it's important that we have somebody who can actually hit the target. And that's the key thing with Sam Surridge, isn't it? He can hit the target. Whatever he missed yesterday, hit the target.
100%. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, as I said earlier, I think he's very unselfish, and I think that, yeah, as Des said, I think he's clinical, isn't he? You know, and he's probably the most proven. Well, he's the most proven striker we've got in that team overall. In the Premier League, Tyro's scored more, but at the same time, he's had way more opportunities than Sam has. So, given that, it would have been interesting to see. I think Sam would have scored all the times that Tyro did, because I don't think that any Tyro goal has been particularly brilliant. But he's been in the right position to score them. And at the end of the day, for a 9, that's all that matters. At the end of the day, if someone said to me, you can score half the goals, but they're better looking goals, or you can get double the goals and it's not so glamorous, you're going to take not so glamorous, aren't you? You just want to score. And at the end of the day, we're not in a position as a team where we can go, oh, that wasn't really a great goal. You know, you just got to take it. But I do think Sam, given these opportunities, would have scored them. And I think he probably would have got more as well. So I do wonder why that's the case, that he hasn't got as much game time. But at the same time, we didn't pay 17.5 million for Sam. We paid like 2 or something million with whatever was added on. So, yeah, you know, for me, I think obviously the value plays a big part in it. You can't reverse the roles and not play a 1E all season, considering how much you've just spent on him. But at the same time, you've got to give Sam some game time, because of just looking at that performance. He deserves game time. And if we don't use him, another club will, and they'll get the absolute best out of him. I just hope it doesn't have to come to that.
Before do people, I was just in a comment. Make sure you do hit the like button, please. If you can, it helps me a lot. And make sure everyone subscribes to my channel. And like I said, I'm 50 away from 9K. So if you can, it's 88 people. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do subscribe. Make sure everyone subscribes to Des. Make sure everyone subscribes to Jay. And make sure everyone subscribes to Dave as well. Rads, what you on?
I'm now 11 away from 4,000.
People, the 11 people that I've not subscribed to Rads, please do. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure everyone subscribes to Des. Des, what you on, Des? Is yours gone up?
No.
Why is not everyone subscribed to Des? Come on, people. And as well, make sure everyone subscribes to Jay Martin. All the links are in the description. Please do. And as well, people, the draw, what time is it now? Is it?
It's 9:53, so another 7 minutes.
Is the match finished yet with Man U?
Nearly finished.
No, it's into the second minute at a time. 4-2. Oh, there we go.
Right, before when it does happen, people in the comments, who do you want in the cup? I will ask the panel who they want home and away. Get your comments in, people. Who do you want in the draw? And I've done a poll as well, and I will tell everyone who they want. Who they want as number 10. If we play that formation again, we know we've got Jesse Lingard, we know we've got Morgan Gibbs-White. Who would you want as a number 10 role? Let me start with you, Jay. As a number 10 role, you got one choice. Who do you want?
Well, the more proven number 10 is Morgan Gibbs-White. So I'm going to say Morgan Gibbs-White. I'm going to go and say it. I think Jesse can do it, but more proven, going to play it safe, and also I think a better player overall, Morgan Gibbs-White.
Rads?
Yep, MGW.
You know what? Do I have to say you, Des? I know who Des is going to choose. Des, let me say, Des, who are you choosing, Des?
What's the
option? You got to pick one, Des. You got to pick.
What's the option?
There's one option, Des.
One option, Des. Morgan Gibbs-White or Jesse Lingard. People in the comments, who do you want as well? Des, don't play front buggers, Des.
Well, Jesse put in a good performance last night.
He's trying to deflect it.
Morgan Gibbs-White every day of the week. That boy is going to the top. I tell you, honestly, he's going to the top. Whether it probably won't be with Forest, but he's going to the top.
So everyone says Morgan Gibbs-White. I'll say Morgan Gibbs-White. I'll say Morgan Gibbs-White. Just Lingard, he's still a good player, but for me, Morgan Gibbs-White, for me, he's a top talent and he will get there. There's 53 minutes gone. Like I said, when the Georges come on, we'll talk about it. And as well, people, we'll see who's man of the match. Because like I said, it was a fantastic performance from the whole team. But in the comments, people, who was your man of the match? Let me start with you, Jay. Who was your man of the match and why?
Jesse Lingard. I thought that he just had that confidence. His fitness was impeccable. You know, he didn't stop running all game. That tackle to put the pass to Renan Lodi for the first goal was excellent. His positioning for the second was spot on. And yeah, just in general, I think just an overall very good game, good confidence booster, worked well within the team. And yeah, Jesse Lingard for me.
Des?
Oh, I've said it a couple of times, haven't I? Lingard definitely. He did what he did. You know, he inspired us to win the game. That 10 minutes in the second half, you know, when we came out, all guns blazing, he was at the centre of it, and it was game over after that, wasn't it? So it's got to be him.
Right.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Lingard. Like I say, I think it by far his best performance in a Forest shirt. I think we all hope we can see more of that. Going to be huge for his confidence, you know, without a doubt. So I'd have to pick Jesse. I think Yatesy, you know, would be up there. Only I was a bit surprised that he did get the official man of the match, but you know, he's always going to put in his shift. I want to mention Hennessy as well. I think he was a contender because he came in, and I don't think he put a foot wrong. You know, he made some really good saves, and as much as I love Hennessy's distribution, it's a lot better than Henderson's, isn't it? You know, it was pinpoint.
That shot that came at him as well. That shot from Matt Doherty that came from him Wow, I would not want to be on the firing line from that. That was phenomenal.
From my angle, it was a great save. It was really tough as well. Before I do said, you know when I said who would you choose as a number 10 people? You know how they said Jesse Lingard as a man of the match because they're trying to make it Jesse Lingard feel good after said he was man of the match. And the boys, don't try it with me, boys. Trying to make it as
he's had one good game this season. I'm not going to shy away from this. He's had one good game this season. I'm not going to overhype him, and I'm not going to go to that level. He had a good game, but you've got to chill out, people. We've still got time to go. I hope he does really well because he's a great person. But one good game. Morgan Gibbs-White has had an abundance.
Okay, people in the comments, what do you think? Do you think that's Jesse Lingard or Morgan Gibbs-White being number 10 or both play together? What do you think? Right, we're going to talk about Saturday's game as well, but still got a few more minutes till the draw comes up. Let me ask you, Des, like I said, this game's a massive one, and Crystal Palace are doing much. I think they beat West Ham on, I think it was Sunday, the one. What's the approach would you say, Des? Because they've got a young, definitely young team as well. What's approach do you think Forest should do?
I'm not sure. I'd like to see a similar sort of formation to yesterday. I think again, as much as I always say this at the moment, attack is the best form of defence, but we're going to have to find a way to balance that. What worries me against Palace is, and this is why I was so frustrated on Saturday with Forest. Of course, it was the ref I was 95% angry with. But with Forest, they got caught with that ball over the top for that second goal. And I know it was a phenomenal pass, but Brentford had tried that 3 or 4 times in the first half. And when the guys were talking earlier, I thought if Worrell plays, because Worrell's never been able to defend that ball, even from when he first got in the team, it would worry me if he's in the team, because that ball over the top, he gets caught underneath it. So I think I'd be reluctant to put him in necessarily. I love him. I wish he played every single week, and he found that confidence, but he is a bit low on confidence. So I'd look to. I think he'll go with the same back four as what's been played in the league. I don't think there'll be any changes there. Would I find a way for Bolly? Maybe on that performance and on that right-hand side. But I think he'll go with the same back four. I'd like to see a bit more in midfield. I've been sort of shouting about this before. Yeah, don't think he's a bad footballer. Like Jay says, I think at some point he might do well. I think he's playing in the wrong position as much as anything. I think he needs to be doing his stuff 20, 30 yards further up the pitch rather than picking up the ball on the edge of our box and passing it to Ryan Yates. Because that's not what he's there for. He's there to pick up the ball and cut defences into pieces, slide balls through. But I don't think he's necessarily the answer. So I'd like to see Chiarte, Yates, and O'Brien this week. With O'Brien, it's a funny one because for all his technical ability and he's nippy and matty around players and he wins the ball back and he is forward thinking. What he does need and what's just letting him down, he needs a split second too long on the ball, and that's where he gets caught in possession sometimes. So he does all this good stuff, and if you don't get the ball away quick, he loses it. And against Palace, if we're losing it in the midfield, I'd be concerned because they're going to hit us with pace. We know Zaha, Eze, Elise's banging form, isn't he? These guys are rapid, and it's a concern. So I think it's probably going to be like I'm going to contradict myself now. The more I talk about it, probably going to have to go compact again, aren't we? Really compact, almost like that Aston Villa game. I don't think you'll see the same kind of intention you saw against Brentford, but it's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it? Because I think if we go too deep, they're just going to batter us and pick us off. So if we can take the game to and get these players, that's why Jesse's important, I believe. Because if we've got Jesse on form, Morgan Gibbs-White on form, perhaps Brennan in there keeping them preoccupied, that gives us a chance to sort of take some pressure off the defence.
Carol just said the draws at 10:30. Do you boys want to wait that long? Because it's a bit. I don't know. We've got still another half an hour. Do you want to? We can have a little break. We can come back and do a new stream if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna struggle to stay past 10:30. I must admit, though, you know what my bedtime is like.
Jay should be in bed at 9 o'clock. So people actually.
I'm in a lot of trouble because of you, Dore. You know, you owe me a lot, and you owe Claire a lot. You owe us all now.
You're nothing.
You're in a lot of debt now.
I don't owe you nothing. Right. Before we go, I think it's going to be too late. I might do a new stream to all people. So if you can come and join me. Right. Before we go there, people, like I said, make sure everyone does subscribe to my channel. I am 50 away from 9K. It'd be a massive help. Make sure everyone subscribes to Des' channel as well. His link's in the description. Please do subscribe. Make sure everyone subscribes to Rads as well. Rads, what you on now? Come on, Rads.
Last time I checked, I was 11 away from 4,000.
People, go and subscribe to get him to 4,000.
Still 11.
People, subscribe now. It's linked in the description as well. Make sure everyone subscribe to Media Man as well. I think I will. Give me 10 minutes and I'll be back on stream for the live draw. People, Des, you coming on, Des?
Yeah, why not?
Bedtime for Jay. Bedtime for
put the kids to bed, Dore.
Put the kids to bed. Even Raz has got to go to bed as well. Raz, dads, if you can, do a massive favor for me. It's bedtime for Rads. Right, right, people. Thank you everyone. Like to before you do go, people, massive favor for me. If you can, hit the like button, subscribe if you know, and I'll see you in 10 minutes, people. 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll be back. Peace and love of the forest.